What's up, guys? I'm very excited today to be bringing you a Kanto Cup video. Glad that Little Cup or Bronzer Cup is done, and ready to move on to something that's more similar to the normal leagues that we've been seeing in the past. Once again, huge shout out to all my Patreon supporters. But I want to get right into this video because it's been a little bit of a while, I guess, since we've had some great league action here. So we'll jump right into it. The team I'm running, it's pretty meta. I figured I'd start meta, see how the meta forms, and then start to spice it up as Kanto Cup goes on. But the leaderboards are back, so I will have to try a little bit harder than I would like to, even though this was supposed to be casual season. As we look at the first battle, I'm just going to go through this the team and how it should work and how it should play properly. We are looking at a Wigglytuff lead. Shadow Hypno is a safe swap here, and Alolan Marowak is the closer. Shadow Hypno kind of is used to draw out all the Alolan Marowak counters. You'd see stuff like Snorlax and Alolan Muck get drawn out, Alolan Raticate even with Shadow Hypno, and then Wigglytuff is just used to take them out. Wigglytuff and Alolan Marowak have some insane synergy, so Hypno is kind of the pivot here. If you look at my Hypno's moveset, you can see that I elect for Ice Punch in this case. If you've been watching my videos before, I've gone Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, but just because of the lack of Steel types, I think there's only 2 Steel types in Kanto Cup at all. I went for Ice Punch expecting, well, as we see one of them right on the screen right there, but I expected a lot more dragons, and we'll see that I actually don't really use Ice Punch at all. I pretty much only use Thunder Punch. But all right, in this battle we have Purple Kyogre, very good player, and we're going to see a Dugong lead. Dugong would be a very common Pokemon if it weren't Legacy, and we're going to see how Wigglytuff matches up against this. So on this team, I like to switch anyways. So I don't mind taking that Icy Wind and then swapping. I missed the swap button though because you can't see the buttons, and I swapped a little bit slow, so I get one less unboosted confusion off, and they're going to come in with Mew. So another Alolan Marowak check comes right out on this Hypno, and I am just going to let everything go here because I just want my Wigglytuff to get in. It resists Shadow Claw, a double resist Shadow Claw, so all I have to do is spend shields. And unfortunately, I do click that Ice Beam. Otherwise, I would be able to take down that Mew very easily here. But now I'm in a pretty comfortable position because I have removed the Mew from my Alolan Marowak, and I just have to hope that Alolan Marowak can beat whatever's in the back, and it's a Hypno. So in the one shield, even with Shadow... Okay, so also notice I'm running Shadow Bone. PvPoke simulations suggest that you should be running Shadow Ball or something like that. I think it's slightly better. You need the power in a lot of these situations, but Hypno is one of those situations, and in this case, Shadow Bone was more than enough to take the Hypno down with no issues. So I think either Shadow Bone or Shadow Ball is fine on a Alolan Marowak. I think for Shadow Hypno, maybe the better second move would be even Shadow Ball, even though I really don't like running Shadow Ball on Shadow Pokemon. So Alolan Marowak lead. This is also not very good for the back line, but Wigglytuff doesn't do too poorly against it. None of the charge moves deal any sort of damage, so I'm going to elect to stay in, get to my charge move. A lot of the time they won't shield either. If they do, then you have shield advantage, and that's fine. But instead they throw their energy, and then it leaves you with a little bit of HP to be able to farm them up. High APM play to ignore that call there. And we're going to see a Hypno come in, and now my Hypno has a little bit of an advantage. The problem is, most regular Hypnos, just because it's the recommended moveset on PvPoke, are running Shadow Ball. So I have to swap out of that with my own Hypno and go into Alolan Marowak instead. And we're going to see this Wigglytuff come back in. So this game is going to be pretty difficult. What I'm trying to do is wear down the switch timer here, because I want to get my Hypno in on this Wigglytuff right away. And I do, and I'm able to, well, I think I'm going to shield this, but I'm able to get some energy on this Wigglytuff and save my Alolan Marowak for later. Not only do I get some energy here on this Hypno, so I'm able to fire off some back-to-back punches, and everyone has been shielding if I charge up a ton on Shadow Hypno anyways. They're expecting the Shadow Ball, but I'm not really running it. Their Hypno is going to throw their energy at me, which is good because now my Alolan Marowak can come in, and I'm not going to risk it and go for the Bone Club. I am going to go straight for the Shadow Bone. Let's better to be safe than to be sorry. We're going to finish off that game as well. Yeah, this team brought me a lot of success. I think I went in the games I'm showing right now. So my first 20 games, I won 18 of them, and then I ended the day 21-4. So no negative sets. Alolan Muck lead. Everyone thinks this is really bad for this team as well, but Wigglytuff can deal with Alolan Muck. If you get that extra fast move through, you actually win if they don't bait. I'm not sure if there's a game in here that shows. So they're going to throw another move, but it's a Dark Pulse. So if you're counting moves, that was a very safe non-shield. And they're going to come with Alolan Marowak. So this is one of the earlier sets of the team. I really panic. Actually, it's the first set with the team. So I panic. You don't want to swap your Hypno into Alolan Marowak. I don't know what I was doing. You stay in with Wigglytuff there, and you just try and beat them just through sheer charms. So in this case, their Alolan Marowak comes in. I'm going to have to shield, and it's a Shadow Ball. So because I got the bait off, and because, like, I don't normally bait, but because I realize I'm in a bad situation now, I have to start baiting. And I'm going to swap to Alolan Marowak here, and luckily, they've got a Machamp in the back. So very lucky for me there that's how that played out. This team is incredible against Machamp if you ever run into one. But we're able to barely pull out this win, even though I made an awful mistake. Yeah. All right, so Beedrill lead, obviously not very good for Wigglytuff, but the back line eats it. So we're going to get out into Hypno, and this is a Hex Marowak. So I've seen a lot of these as well. Hex Marowak, Wigglytuff does incredible against. Resist Hex as well as Shadow Ball or Shadow Bone. So I'm going to let my Hypno go down. There's the chance they bait too, but I'm just going to go into this Wigglytuff. They don't even try and fake the Fire Blast, so no reason to shield here. I'm just going to be able to end this matchup with a lot of health and a lot of energy and bring that into the next matchup. The other thing about them throwing all these Bone Clubs is that the switch timer is getting worn down, so I can get out of this Beedrill matchup ASAP because I don't want to give this Beedrill any more than I have to. But they don't actually come in with their Beedrill, which is kind of confusing. That's why I went for the Ice Beam instead of the Play Rough. And I honestly should have swapped out right away into Marowak, just because he's good against both of these Pokemon. But unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to spend a couple of shields here. I don't know if this one's a Shadow Ball. It doesn't look like they charge up enough. Yeah, it's just a Fire Punch. So, but better to be safe than sorry. Even if Beedrill gets to a Drill Run, I don't think it KOs at this point. So I just need to get to 2 Charge Move or 2 Shadow Bones. Honestly, I probably don't even need to throw a Charge Move, but ooh, maybe I do. Yeah. So we're gonna get to that Shadow Bone and finish off this really nice, clean 5-0 set, I think. Even, yeah, you see a lot of mistakes there just from not knowing the team. I should have swapped in my Marowak at the end. I should have not swapped my Hypno into an Alolan Marowak, stuff like that. But the team is kind of forgiving. I think the main issue is when they're running 2 of the problem Pokemon, so like a Snorlax and an Alolan Muck, then Wigglytuff has to deal with both, and Wigglytuff just has a big uphill battle there to go through. So that was a Dratini reward, not a Lugia. Still haven't seen one, but that's okay. Yeah, so we'll go into this next set as well. This is concerning, but luckily we're able to get through. Oh, yeah, so my opponent has some catch-up moves there, and we have a Water Gun, Blastoise. I've seen Blastoise a couple times now in Kanto Cup. I'm not really sure how it performs, but I just shield the Hydro Cannon because I have no idea how much damage it does, and I do want to win Switch, and we are looking at a Alolan Sandslash. So I swap my Hypno in, and this is why I like Hypno as a safe swap because it's so unpredictable. They assume the worst when you swap it in. So they're going to assume I have Fire Punch here, but I don't, and they're going to shield. So I'm going to get a shield in a situation where I probably didn't deserve to get one, but I'm actually, yeah. And now I'm able to, I want to wait down the switch timer as long as I can because they're going to swap out as soon as they can. and because I waited, I'm able to swap out as well and match my Wigglytuff versus their Snorlax. So in this situation, this is similar to the plays with my Shadow Victory Belt team, where I sacrifice Hypno to realign the Pokemon, and I think it was definitely worth it. Unfortunately, Wigglytuff is going to go down to Body Slam because this Snorlax is Shadow. If it was a regular Snorlax, it'd be fine, but Alolan Marowak doesn't really need shields versus Snorlax anyways. The main issue with Snorlax is Lick, not Body Slam or Superpower, as they don't really hurt you at all. So I'm able to get to that Shadow Bone there. That match wasn't very close. I had so much energy on Alolan Marowak. I could have probably taken out anything that came in that wasn't normal type. You see Alolan Marowak lead. Once again, we're going to stay in. It's unfortunate this is how this game has to go, but it's a pretty slow lead matchup. You just have to pray you don't get that defense drop from Shadow Bone, but most people will just go straight Bone Club anyways. This guy is just going for the RNG play. I'll go for the play rough. Does quite a bit of damage if they let it through, which they usually do. And I still haven't been able to win switch advantage here without using a shield, because I feel like it's IV dependent since it's been this close every time. But I have been able to go into the next matchup with decent amounts of energy. So this is Marowak and Wigglytuff so far. I think this might be the game where it's a mirror, and I get the Wigglytuff low. So I get the Wigglytuff low first, and then swap in the Marowak. This allows me to save a shield and just farm all the way down. So I don't have very much health. Oh, it's not a mirror. It's a Dugong. So even though I don't have very much health, Alolan Marowak, after I farm down the Wigglytuff, has a really good matchup against everything if you have energy. Shadow Bone hits incredibly hard. It's got the debuff chance. It's got great offensive typing. Bone Club is good for the bait. Like, you just have to be scared of Alolan Marowak with energy. So I'm going to come with my Hypno. They don't have any shields anymore, and I'm just going to easily take down this Dugong with 2 shields, even though I definitely should have shielded something there. I don't like the Icy Wind at the end. Sure. Wigglytuff's move. Sure. I should have shielded something. That's a trap you don't want to get yourself into. So Mew lead. This is a very good lead for Wigglytuff, even though you don't really know what's happening. I think a lot of Mews are starting to run Dark Pulse as well, which is even better, but this one is running Wild Charge, so probably the Wild Charge Surf variant. I'm going to swap out into Hypno and just let this Icy Wind through. I don't know how my opponent wants to play this, if they really want switch advantage or not, but because I know that they have a Mew and I have an Alolan Marowak, I really do want switch advantage here. So I will shield this Icy Wind and overfarm a little bit and throw another Thunder Punch. And if they didn't let it through, I was willing to match shields with them until I got switch advantage, because I absolutely cannot have this Mew against my Alolan Marowak. I'm going to go back out to Wigglytuff and shield up here. But they actually try and bait me, which is interesting. So they swap out, and it's another Pokemon that Alolan Marowak is weak to. So we are in a lot of trouble here. And I swap out to catch the Body Slam. So this is a game-saving play, actually. And I'm just going to try and exit this matchup with enough energy for a Shadow Bone so I can beat this Mew head-to-head with Alolan Marowak. Like I said, you don't have to shield anything from Snorlax, so I'm comfortable trying to farm all the way down. It's my win condition anyways, right? So even if it is a bit sketchy, sometimes you just have to stick it out. If I throw energy there, I lose for sure. So get the Shadow Bone off, and we're able to take this victory. I think that was 3 Pokemon who were pretty good into Alolan Marowak right there. So someone's sick of seeing Alolan Marowak for sure. Wigglytuff versus Clefable. It's a bit odd to see Clefable in a non-double charmer team. I think Wigglytuff is just the better Pokemon in Kanto Cup at least. But swapping out of my Wigglytuff, even though it's a decent matchup, is going to bring out this Snorlax. So once again, swap. Like, giving up switch advantage is a good thing with this team. They're trying to bait out the counters. And Snorlax comes out, and you're going to do a hefty amount of damage. So the Snorlax switch-ins, you actually get a shield with Hypno. And then if I come in with Wigglytuff, I don't have to shield. So I get shield advantage, and I remove the Alolan Marowak counter. So Snorlax switch-in is pretty ideal. And I'm going to swap back into Alolan Marowak. They're just going to leave. So nice and quick game right there. They probably had something very weak to Alolan Marowak in the back. And that's just the beauty of this team. You lose switch advantage, but you draw out their only counter. So Wigglytuff lead. So what I like to do here, this is a bit different than Clefable because Alolan Marowak does not stomp Wigglytuff. I'm going to get Wigglytuff kind of low. At this health, you can farm them down with Alolan Marowak as well. You don't have to worry about that. Your charge moves don't do any damage. So this is starting to look like a little bit of a mirror, but we'll see what they have in the back. The problem is regular Hypno beats Shadow Hypno, my Shadow Hypno, just because they're usually running Shadow Ball, and I am not. So I'm going to let this through this time, and I have to decide which Pokemon I want to come in with. So I'm going to come in with Alolan Marowak and try and farm up. This was a bit of a risky play because if I see it be tied in the Shadow Ball, I would have to shield, but I'm able to get the Shadow Bone first, and Alolan Muck comes out, and my Wigglytuff is able to beat theirs due to the extra damage because I swapped. Now I can unleash a Play Rough on this Alolan Muck and just absolutely chunk it, and I'll spend the shield because I saw my charm go through. This is the guaranteed win right now. And they just threw Dark Pulse anyway. So, even though there was an Alolan Marowak counter in the back, you can kind of jockey around it, get your Wigglytuff back in on it, and take it down. Wigglytuff has been an absolute monster, probably the MVP of this team so far. Everyone's expecting the Hypno in general. The Alolan Marowak, those are two of the most common Pokemon, but the Wigglytuff really kind of completes this line. A lot of teams seem like they have at least two Pokemon weak to Wigglytuff, and that makes it very easy when Wigglytuff is your lead, and they're not leading with that Pokemon. Unfortunately, in this case, they are. We see a Magneton, and I'm going to swap right in with Hypno, and they're going to come right back with the Alolan Muck. I'm not going to shield here. I know I'm going to need shields for Wigglytuff to beat this Alolan Muck. Dark Pulse does a ton of damage, and the issue here is that I am probably going to be farmed down, and I don't quite get to that next Thunder Punch. So Wigglytuff is going to need to shield here, unfortunately. And it's almost certainly Magneton coming back in. And there's a Blastoise. So this was counter, counter, counter. The counter that they had for Alolan Marowak was not the same as their Hypno counter, which is very rare. Blastoise might be one of the only ones. So it's just a bit of an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. You can't win them all. I try my best, though. And yeah, they get to a Hydro Cat. They're playing it safe. They know that their Magneton can easily take down Wigglytuff here, so. Yeah, and it's going to be a Magnet Bomb to finish the game, I think. I remember this one. This is the first loss of Kanto Cup for me, so 10-game win streak to start it out. It was pretty good. Glad that my read on the meta was mostly correct. Not as many dragons as I thought. So this Ice Punch is largely useless. We're going to see Shadow Machamp lead, and they swap into Alolan Marowak. So I debated swapping, but you really can't. I get that extra charm through, so I know that if they don't bait, I'm just going to win this matchup straight up. Similar to before, I'm just going to let that Dark Pulse through. Yeah, and it doesn't do that much damage, and I have a ton of energy now. So one shield for that much energy and that much health is definitely worth it. And they have a Hypno here, so I'm probably going to go into my own Hypno. I know that they... Actually, no, I'm gonna go down because I know that my Wigglytuff doesn't have to deal with their Machamp, right? My Hypno can. So I'm going to go in with Alolan Marowak and I'm not going to bait. I'm not going to take any dumb risks because the only way you lose this game is if you take dumb risks. And I'm not even going to shield. So Shadow Ball takes out Alolan Marowak, but I'm just going to come in with my Hypno, and I'm going to shield to be safe here. And which is good because it was a Shadow Ball, but Shadow Machamp versus Shadow Hypno, you kind of know who's going to win this one. Even if they get to a Rock Slide, it's not going to be enough to finish me off. And I still have some energy for this Hypno at the back too. So just playing that one really safe. Even if they had baited the shield, doesn't matter. It's all about identifying your win condition, and identified once you've seen all three of their Pokemon, you can tell if you're going to win or not. And you should just focus on that and see if you are and carrying out your game plan. So another Wigglytuff versus Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak is very common. In this cup, we just had a raid day. It's got a great typing. It's the only ghost without a poison typing, so it can beat Hypno. And they're actually going to swap out of this one instead of throwing energy. I let my Wigglytuff go down. That was kind of an accident. I really did want to keep it up. So I get Wigglytuff low, and then I'm going to swap in my Alolan Marowak so I can farm it down and not have to shield. Yeah, so we're going to take this Wigglytuff down. I have almost enough energy for 2 Shadow Bones. And they're going to bring in their own Alolan Marowak. I'm going to bait here. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, so he almost certainly has enough for 2 Bone Clubs. And I really should have thrown the Bone Club because it looks like I do in the CMP tie, but I have to blow 2 shields instead. And instead, they also have a Shadow Hypno that comes out. And I'm going to throw this game a little bit and swap it into my own Hypno, which isn't running Shadow Ball. So this is a game where I probably would have won if I also was running Shadow Ball. I think I lose this one. Yeah, I definitely lose this one. Yeah, so maybe it's time to make a moveset change if I continue running this team, although I think that I'll probably try and find another team that works, try and bring you another Kanto Cup team. Yeah, I wanted to do this one first just because I think most people have access to these 3 Pokemon if they want to run it. So we're both going to swap right away into our respective Pokemon. They're going to come in with Lapras. I'm going to come with Shadow Hypno. I don't really know too much about this matchup. I just don't want them to get to a Skull Bash. So they'll shield 1 Surf, no problem. And I'll get to my second Thunder Punch, which they're going to let through. They don't want to double shield. So I'm in a fantastic position right now. I probably should have charged up a little bit more to fake the Shadow Ball. But instead they know it's just a Thunder Punch, so I'm just getting damage through at this point. And it looks like they're actually trying to farm me down. But it looks like we actually CMP tied. So luckily they're going to waste some of their energy here, and I can come in with... I decided to come in with Wigglytuff because I think they have some energy. I don't want to have to spend a shield on Alolan Marowak, so I eat the energy and swap into Alolan Marowak, and I'm able to farm them down. And we have a Dugong come in. So Dugong, when you only have 1 Pokemon left, it's kind of terrifying. Dugong, when you have 2 Pokemon left, it's also terrifying because you can swap out of the Icy Wind debuff. Even if I get hit by it here, and they're just going to save the time and just leave that matchup. So I think this is last game of the set. And we're going to have Wigglytuff Mirror to lead off this game. So once again, I'm going to swap out once their Wigglytuff gets to around half health, because I do want to draw out their counter. Look what would have happened if we just both fainted our Wigglytuffs. Snorlax would have come out and absolutely annihilated my back line. So instead, I'm going to be able to grab shield advantage here. And I'm going to be able to take down this Snorlax at the end. I've debated coming in with Alolan Marowak after this. I don't know if I do it this game or not. Just because they have energy stored up. Yeah, they do. So I'm going to come in with Alolan Marowak, catch this Body Slam. My Wigglytuff's a bit low. I don't want to have to shield. So I'm going to end this matchup a little bit lower than I'd like, but I do have a ton of energy here. I'm going to throw the Bone Club and swap back into Wigglytuff. And guess what? Same situation as last time. They swap back into their Wigglytuff, and because they've taken a lot of damage from my Hypno, I'm able to beat theirs and bring an entire Play Rough into this muck. And this is going to win the game. Wigglytuff does a ton of damage with shields down as well. Play Rough is no joke. Ice Beam is good coverage, even though for some reason no one is running any sort of grass types or any sort of dragon types. But we'll see if we can maybe change that later on as well. So this is a 3-2 set. It's still a positive set, but compared to the other ones, it was kind of lackluster. Lose a game with just entire lineup counters, and then I lose a game because I don't run Shadow Ball, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. I really thought Ice Punch was the choice, but maybe not. Alolan Raticate comes in, and they swap into Hex Marowak, so this makes me think their team is really weak to Wigglytuff. And they did a lot of hexes. I don't actually know the count, but I'm going to shield this Fire Blast. So a little bit of a soul read on that one. And I throw my energy, and because they don't shield it, I know that they probably can't get to another Fire Blast here. Either way, I don't want to go 2 shields down. Anyways, and yeah, it's just a Shadow Bone. So I'm able to tank that up really nicely, and we'll see what they come in with. And it's a Shadow Victory Bell. So because it's a Shadow Victory Bell, I'm going to swap in with my Hypno to try and realign Pokemon. And this is going to work out great because I'm going to be able to draw out this Alolan Raticate. And even though it's going to be able to farm me down and get quite a bit of energy, I have no idea what the moveset on this thing is, by the way. I still don't even know what fast move that is. I'll be very honest. But Hyper Fang does a ton of damage to Wiggly, but Wiggly's still able to win, and Shadow Victory Bell is not going to like what's coming next. This team, very good against Shadow Victory Bell in the back. Yeah, that's why I'm very comfortable swapping Hypno or Marowak into that Alolan Raticate. It doesn't really matter. I felt like Hypno was safer because it's harder to farm down. Or all the way down. We're going to see a Haunter lead. This is one of the Pokemon that Wigglytuff is actually not too bad against unless it's running Sludge Bomb. So I swapped to try and catch the Sludge Bomb, but then I'm like, wait, what if they're running Shadow Ball? And I shield anyways. So even though I make the correct read, I fail to play. And this is actually, yeah, this is a team I saw on Twitter. With the shiny Electrode swap. So as soon as this Electrode came out, I knew there was going to be a Graveler in the back. It's still going to be a rough game. I know Electrode runs Foul Play, but I want to save my shields for later. And somehow I actually lived that. I did not expect that at all. But I'm able to deal quite a bit of damage to this Electrode. And I'm going to be able to farm it down with Wigglytuff. They end up swapping. And yeah, I'm able to take this down with just Wigglytuff. Or no, I'm going to shield this up. Makes sense. But yeah, the Volt Switch is very good in this meta, but the main issue is that you're now running an Electrode and Graveler, which don't have that high of stat products. So you're going to lose neutral matchups, and my team is all neutral matchups against that one, except for the Graveler versus Marowak, unfortunately, which I was almost left with, but managed to save it a bit there. So another Snorlax swap in here. We know exactly how this one goes. It plays the exact way as every other Snorlax swap in has. We're not going to shield, and we are going to get shield advantage back. If they don't, then you're going to win switch advantage. So yeah, Snorlax versus Hypno isn't too bad, but people perceive it to be bad, which is why they'll swap in. And it might be a Shadow Hypno thing too, where Shadow Hypno forces that extra shield. I'm not sure. But they bring back in their Dugong, and I don't mind just grabbing the extra shields. I'm not going to shield this, I don't think. Shielding Icy Wind is kind of meh. Even if it does a lot of damage, you end up with a debuff Pokemon, and they're going to bring their Hypno. I've got Marowak versus Hypno with 2 shields. This is an unlosable matchup. I would really have to do something awful. They realize that too, and they're not going to even throw a charge move. They're just going to finish this game as fast as they can. So another pretty straightforward matchup there. Okay, we're going to see Shadow Snorlax in the lead. This is harder than regular Snorlax in the lead. For both of these, you do have to shield the Wigglytuff once. I shield the first one here because this is the first time I'd seen the matchup. I don't really know what else it could run, maybe Earthquake, and I was scared of that. But I really don't. I'd have to shield one anyway, so if they're going to charge up like that, I don't mind shielding the first one. Getting a bit of lag on this video right now. I'm not sure why, but this Alolan Muck swaps in, and now I realize they're running Snorlax, Alolan Muck. I've got to stay in as well. And in this case, they're allowed to just go Dark Pulses because I'm this low and I don't have shields. So I have to take it. I'm going to come in with Hypno because I think it does slightly more damage than the farm down. And I'm able to just barely take them down before they get to that next Dark Pulse. So Snorlax is low as well, and I don't want to spend any energy. And now it's a Alolan Marowak. They'll probably shield the first one because they think it could be a Shadow Ball. But I just want to get a little bit of damage off. because I know that Alolan Marowak can't one-shot itself. So we're going to bring it in, and I have a little bit of energy advantage on it once it throws this move. Yeah, Shadow Bone. Shadow Ball would be a bit closer, but I still don't think it KOs by the time I get to that Bone. And I'm able to take that victory as well, despite having 3 Pokemon that are good versus Hypno, and 2 that are good versus Alolan Marowak and itself. So that team was a very good counter to this team, but we still managed to pull it out. So I'm really not sure what was up with this team. This was Alolan Ninetales lead, which I don't think is necessarily a bad Pokemon, but they're going to swap in with Mew, which is not a great Wigglytuff check. And I expect a Wild Charge here, but it's a Dark Pulse. So because I shielded the first thing, I'm just not going to shield the second one. I was really hoping it wasn't an Overheat or something like that. And it was another Dark Pulse, so I don't know what Mews are running. And then now we have a Zapdos. And this is a Charge Beam Zapdos too, I think. So not even Thunder Shock, which is the only really viable, I would say, version of Zapdos. I'm not going to shield anything. I still have a Alolan Marowak in the back. I really don't even care if Hypno goes down at this point. I just want to play to be safe. Yeah, they're coming back in with Alolan Ninetales. And Alolan Ninetales has no play against Alolan Marowak. Fire beats ice, what can I say? And that caps off another 5-0. So that's 3 5-0 sets out of 4. This team was absolutely incredible for me so far. I probably will try and experiment and run different things, even if the leaderboard's up, and push it in Catch Cup maybe. But yeah, no, this team was a lot of fun. I had a lot more fun in Kanto Cup than I did in Little Cup after the first couple days, just because the Bronzor mirrors were kind of just such a buzzkill. I don't know what else to say about that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about the team, you can feel free to ask them in the comments. If you want to support me on Patreon, I'll leave that in the video description, as well as the Discord link. We've got a nice little community there growing. It's been a lot of fun communicating with everybody. And as always, thanks for watching.